boot up or whatever. I got these big chunky football cleats on or whatever. It was just looking at me and just like, and we scrimmaged and I loved it. I was like, oh, this is, as long as everyone is able to compete and do their role, win or lose, you win because you're perfecting your part. Regardless of people, the scoreboard matters, but as long as you learn from what you lost or whatever it was that you did, you won. You come in on, these APC contracts and they're not what they're supposed to be. They're $15 an hour, $13.
What?
That's what I was on coming in. It was like 15. My checks are like my rookie year coming in. Also because I didn't go into the draft, I'm guessing. I don't think any rookie the freshman year, if you were in the draft, the rookie year, if you were in the draft, you were able to negotiate anything real unless they wanted you full contract, full time. You're on APC. The APCs were not negotiable. So they were having me on 15 an hour.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. You are now tuned in to the greatest of all time, the greatest of all time.
Welcome to the Rugby Swag Show. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another great episode of Rugby Swag. Of course, my name is GiftTime in Baylor, and of course, this is a show where we speak to people about the opportunities they have found, created via rugby, as well as the things going on around rugby. It is so good to be back. It has been a long 3 weeks. I know a couple weeks since I put out the last post, but you know what? Obviously, I was at Bangkok's 10s, definitely traveling. My body got worn out. Look, when you haven't played rugby for 6 years on the field, you feel every bit of it, and the recovery is strong. But you know what? It's good to be back. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it on our Wednesday show, but I just want to say I am so happy to have you here with me. And, of course, be able to bring back some of these great people we got to talk to. So before we get started, of course, I need you guys to please continue to share and to like and to subscribe to the video, as well as be able to, of course, find us on all our streaming networks. That is from Spotify to Apple Podcasts, iHeartMedia, and everything surrounding around that. In addition, of course, if you want to follow us, you absolutely can. Please, you can follow us on X at GiftEbelu, GIFTEGBELU, on IG at Rugby Swag Show. And then, of course, on every other network, that is, even including X and including IG, but YouTube, GiftTime Rugby, Facebook, GiftTime Rugby, TikTok, at GiftTime Rugby. And I know it has been a while since we've been able to put a lot of stuff on there, but now we're in it. I'm in it. So get ready to see a lot of content from this. If you haven't been able to catch some of our past ones and even current being dropped on all these social media networks, because there is a lot happening. We are in the season. Again, we're going to go more deep into it. Just know, man, Bangkok 10s was great. I am excited that March is here. There's so much that is going down that it's hard to be able to just be like, let's put it into this. And I don't want to hold you guys off for too long. Of course, our big sponsor, Health Enhanced Food. Absolutely check out the greatest specialty food mix store in the game, providing the best bread mixes and flour mixes that you need for your health as well as for your dietary needs. All right, this is not something to take away taste, and we did a great test about this, but it's not taking away taste, it's improving it and making sure that you don't have to feel terrible about eating the breads that you absolutely love in whatever format that they are. So just to get us started, our special guest for today, if you didn't read it inside the title, it is the Dmontae Noble, former pro rugby player, former USA rugby player. Man, great story. Oh, man, this dude is a speed demon. This man is one of the coolest people to talk to. Great, amazing story. And right now, I think he's currently in Australia. We did this right before he left, so if we're talking about it in the future tense, this is why. But it was a great, phenomenal conversation to be had, and I definitely think it's something that should be taken considered into any rugby player that is coming through and is trying to find their way in the industry. It can be tough, but also there's lights at the end of the tunnel. And I think this was just a great interview to be able to present that. So I hope you guys absolutely enjoy this one. I hope you guys continue to take a look. And of course, let's talk a little bit after this one. But in the meantime, check out Dmontae Noble. Check it out. I'm going to let you get back to the show in a moment, but I want to talk to you about our sponsors, Health Enhanced Foods, the best specialty flours in the business. What does that mean for you? That is the flours that allow you to be able to get the nutritious need from your bread made. That's muffins, bread, croissants, whatever, pancakes and muffins. It will give you the opportunity to be able to get the best while still being able to eat like you wanted to. We have various amounts of products available for those who have special dietary needs to those who are looking for a special health outcome. And of course, because they're part of the Rugby Swag Show, we want to let you know that you got a chance to go to healthenhancedfoods.com and use code Rugby Swag to be able to get 20% off your first order. Y'all, this is something that you're going to need. You got to build up, have your energy at the best, be the maximum. It's 2024. Let's do the best. But now, I want you guys to get into it. Let's get back to the show. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another great episode of Rugby Swag. Of course, we got another special guest for you today. Man, this man is the speedster coming straight. He is a pro USA Rugby player. He is a former Olympian. He is a 7th phenom. All right, man. This man coming straight out of, I mean, look, he's from everywhere. This is coming out of Virginia. I mean, I've seen him in Pennsylvania. I've seen him in Dallas. Yo, man, we got Dmontae Noble. Man, Dmontae, what's really good with you? Thank you for being on the show.
Hey man, how we doing? How we doing, man? Just happy to be here. Happy to be here. You know, thanks for having me.
Yo, man, I appreciate it. Look, brother, you know, I always say, like, you have one of the most dynamic, like, you know, whenever you first saw a Barry Sanders clip and you're like, God, dog, how this man do this? That's what I felt whenever I would see you. Like, whenever you were in college, like, I remember seeing your clips on whenever it came with the tournaments, with the sevens tournaments, and being able to see your clips and just being like, yo, this is what we're supposed to be seeing in rugby. Yeah. This is where you go. And then obviously what we saw with USA Rugby and you doing it at the HSBC tournament and showing out there, and now what you're doing with Premier Sevens, like, bruh, I honestly, the swag that you bring has always been the pleasure that I want to see from rugby. It's like literally one of the reasons why I started playing rugby, to see guys doing what you do. So, and I just got to say, man, I always want to give you your flowers. I always appreciate you for the impact you have, because I know not just what you've done on the field, but the story that you've brought to the field, and you bring into the rugby. So really much appreciation to you on that.
No, man, I thank you, man. I appreciate it. You know, how I express myself. So that, you know, that is going noticed, greatly appreciated. Thank you.
And so, you know, I always want to, you know, I usually start with what's the origin, but I kind of want to bring in a little bit of what this journey, and let's kind of want to give you from the top, like from where you are to what you've been able to do in rugby right now. Like, how has that feeling been? Not so much on like what has it been individually, but like, did you ever envision from where you were back in high school to now what you've been able to experience in your sporting career to this point? Has the pathway been what you thought, or has it been a complete different direction, or has this been like, I didn't even have a thought about it, I'm just flying by the seat of my pants on this?
Oh man, sheesh. So to take it back a little bit, I got recruited by Kutztown when I was in 8th grade. So that's when all the doors started to kind of open up for me, just at one tournament.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm still trying to figure out, like, I don't even know what I'm going to wear to school tomorrow. How am I going to commit to a college? You know, but granted, like they kept in contact with me, they kept reaching out as far as like, we want you, be honest, but if you're looking at other schools and stuff, so got recruited by Kutztown, ended up going to Kutztown after high school. I will say the way my journey shaped after high school was completely different than what I expected because I didn't want to go to college at first. And then also I was a football player as well. I've been playing rugby for a while now. I'm going almost 20 years now. But
Wow.
I was a football player at first, and picked up a rugby ball. Once I picked up a rugby ball, I fell in love with it. If you'd ask me today if I would have accomplished a lot of things that I would accomplish, I probably would look at you and tell you no. If you told me I'd ever share the field with Perry Baker or Kayvon, some of the guys I used to watch growing up, watching CRCs and stuff, I'd probably look at you and laugh just because, I never think it would go this far or rugby would expand this far. So it's definitely an eye opener, let alone a shocker, but a blessing.
Man, I love that. I love that. So that lets me lead into what my next question is, which has always been, I always say every superhero has their origin story, brother. And for you, you've had a superhero story so far. So as with everybody, I always like to ask, how did you get started with rugby?
So when I was a kid, I want to say probably like 7, maybe 6, 7, maybe 8. Anyways, born in Virginia, raised in Texas, moved back to Texas for a little bit. We'll go back and forth for summers and stuff to see family, back to Texas and stuff like that. But eventually my mom was just like, hey, you guys are gonna stay here. So in Virginia, stayed in Virginia, got hooked up to this team called Warrington Wolfpack. And my first coach, his name was Greg, and the assistant coach, I believe his name was Robin, and he was just a head coach for the older side, but assistant for my age bracket. And pretty much, he was like, "Hey, like you're playing football for us. We run rugby on Saturdays. They would call it speed training, and I show up. They're playing rugby. I'm just like, well, what the hell is this? Like, and he's like, try it, you'll love it. I'm just like, no, I'm good. Like, I'll just wait until the speed training. And he's like, this is the speed training. Like, oh,
this is what's happening right now.
So I boot up or whatever. I got these big chunky football cleats on or whatever. Everyone's just looking at me. I'm just like, and we scrimmage and I loved it. I was like, oh, this is not knowing a single rule. They just every time you catch it, just run and tackle people. Whoever has the ball, you hit them unless they're on your team. It's like cool. And I, simple. And as I played, my coach was like making them scenarios and stuff like that. I'm like, well, what do I do here? What do I do here? So big shout out to Michael Reed because he's like teaching me on the like little things on the fly, and then finish that training session and weeks down the line, we have like trip coming up to Jersey, and like a tournament, my first real tournament. I'm just like right after me playing my first practice. So I was just like, you know what? Give it a go. Played in the tournament, killed it, loved it. It was so fun. And after that, I was just like, yeah, football count your days.
So it's like, you know what? I see you over there. Yo, you're not looking so bright right now.
But I was always good at football. So
yeah.
But I didn't really know what I wanted to do until like my sophomore or junior year. And then I finally like made a choice. So,
and I got to give a lot of credit. I mean, look, being from Louisiana, I see a lot of good football because it is really premium. So I know Virginia has great football as well. Yeah. We've seen a lot of names come out of there. So for you to be able to compete with there speaks volumes. So for you, like, you're looking at it from the rugby side and you're just like, man, why is like this isn't looking so bright. Did you guys have like a robust team that also attracted you to being able to play as well, or was it just like the way that it was on the field was just good enough?
It's actually a good question. So one of the things that I kept looking at, like, a lot of my friends were just like joining the team, so it was just one of those things where it's just like I know my mom wants me to stay out of trouble. I know she wants me to. I know there's a lot of things I could do. I don't have to go do this. I don't have to go do that. And I guess the crazy part was my high school, we didn't have a club team. So I was
Yeah.
driving like an extra 30, 45 minutes, just to,
Jeez.
in traffic. And, if anyone knows Virginia, you get on 66 past 3 o'clock. It's hell. So, making that commitment was the mental part. Getting there was the outlet. So not having a high school team definitely took a toll because I'm playing football, I'm running track, so I have to do this and then immediately go to training for rugby. So it was just always a constant, but it was what made me, what got me to where I am. So
I feel that. Kind of backtracking a little bit. Was your family an athletic family? Like, did your mom do it? Do you
yeah,
have siblings or like?
so my little sister, start with the baby, she was a cheerleader in high school. That's what she wanted to do. When she got to college, she went to ODU for like a year, tried out the rugby scene. A little iffy on it. She liked it, but wasn't sure if it was her, at the time.
Her vibe.
So, but she was just like, I see you doing it. Just want to see what it's like. She understands it. She enjoyed it, but just wasn't for her at the time. But
Right.
good for her. My brother, my oldest brother, he was a basketball star. He
Wow.
now plays rugby. He started about 4 years ago, I want to say 3, 4 years ago. He D1 recruit when he lived in Texas. And then we moved and ended up going to Bluefield, which is like close to home, Woodville, Virginia. Killed it there, had a couple of offers to go overseas, ended up having a son. So he just kind of like put that on hold. And then you have, for example, my mom who ran track, my uncle who made it to the Olympic trials for track.
Whoa.
And then you have me, a little bit of basketball, football, whatever you put in my hands, I'll adjust, and then I'm the last one I would say out of like my immediate family who's still playing.
So I mean, this is in the blood. Like
Yeah,
you guys have really been about this life.
yeah.
I love that. You know what? It also makes sense if your family's from Texas, even though they live in this is Texas. Like,
I always people ask me sometimes where is like the toughest football you've ever been or you ever played in or whatever. And I tell people all the time, hands down, Texas. They just breed you. You got to have a D1 child. As soon as he starts kicking in your stomach, that ain't him kicking,
right?
it's him doing high knees.
What's going on, man? This kid
you
is
know,
training again. What's happening here?
you know.
No, I feel that. I love that. And so, like, whenever you entered into rugby, when your coach found it, so your your mom was already pretty accepting of the fact of shifting from football over to rugby, or was
She
she just like, this was a side thing? Because I can't
she
imagine there
just
was a lot
didn't
of knowledge on
care.
it.
She just didn't care, and in a good way. I don't mean that in like, in a bad way. She just didn't care though. She's like, if it's anything, because I wasn't necessarily a trouble kid. I didn't really get into a lot of trouble. No real run-ins with the law, nothing like that. Never really gotten in trouble ever, hardly. But I knew that at a young age, like I was one of those kids, like I was small. So you pick on me, we're
Yeah, sure. Stand on
probably about
business.
to, yeah. So I just, it just got to a point for me, it just wasn't about that anymore. And I just
Yeah.
wanted to have fun with life. So, or just with sports. So once I made that transition over from like football and basketball to rugby, my mom was just like, "Do you like it?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Are you having fun with it?" She's like, "Do you have friends?" And I'm telling her, "Yeah." I'm like, "It's cool," and people treat me fairly, people actually appreciate what I do. Um, that alone, she was okay. Like, if that's what you want to do, you have my support. I'll make sure you get to point A to point B, So, and then ever since then, I was just like, yeah, this, all just full tilt.
Yo. So in high school, you taught getting ready, going into your senior year. Man, what was those? Actually, even better question. What was that point for you where you were just like, this sport, I'm good at this sport? Like, there's the early stages where it's like, I can athletically do this, but when was the point where you were just like, this is my sport? Like, now I not just shifted football, but this is part of me in this moment.
This will be an issue for everyone, and I will tell people this all the time.
Let's go.
Um, Coaches, I'm sorry if you guys see this in advance. When you guys are hyping up a certain player, I don't care. We all have to lace up the same. So, like when I remember when I was younger playing in, the All Star tournament that they were hosting in Pittsburgh, and also like the All American camps and stuff. People would be like, "Oh, like gotta get ready for this person, watch out for this person," and I'm just like, "Cool." Like, what's so special about him? Is he fast? Is he shifty? And they would tell me, I'm just, "Okay, if that's what you're saying, then I will take caution, but I'm not worried about this guy because again, he's gonna have to catch me. He's gonna have to hit me. Where I'm gonna have to hit him. So, either way." We're gonna have that back and forth battle. You bleed just like I bleed. So I whatever you're gonna bring at me, bring it. I want all the smoke because at the end of the day, this is what this is for.
Right.
You if you want to be the best, you have to take out the best. And people used to always think, "Oh, you're trying to be the best." I'm just no. I just want to be as good as I am. So as best as I can be. So when it came down to like the All-Star tournaments, All American. The Vegas Sevens when that was a thing. I think that's what really got me was just like when I was probably like a sophomore or junior in high school. Shout out to Salty Thompson. We have a really good relationship now. And Brett Thompson, he did not like me as a kid. He just didn't think I did enough. And he was right, But at certain points in times, I knew that I was better than some of those people that he had on that team.
Mm-hmm.
And I would never say that he made a mistake because he didn't. Because without Salty, my future probably would not have shaped out the way it would have been. Maybe I would have gotten it a little bit easier making some of those tours. But when I don't ever get anything easy, so I was cool with that. And I made a statement when we played them in Vegas in sevens. He had the All American team or the era team, and shout out to Paul Sheehan, the owner of DCL Glory. Him and I, he's known me since I was a kid. I used to play against Gonzaga, play against his kids, put me on the team for them to go out to Vegas. And, this is where my buzz started to create like a sophomore or junior. That tournament, I lit it up on fire. Like you put the ball in my hands, I'm scoring. You run at me, I'm tackling you. I don't know if I remember his name. His name is Lecky. He plays for the Cardinals now.
Okay.
I had to play against Lecky. Me and Lecky are boys. And we're running at each other, hitting each other. I got to hit him. He has to hit me. And I'm not shying away. I'm probably like 160 pounds at this point, soaking wet. Lecky's easily pushing 215. So
it's we're about to talk about momentum. I ain't worried about weight. We about momentum game.
But I ain't gonna lie. I ain't no fool though. I ain't gonna run straight into Lecky. Like no, nothing like that. So
right.
But I was playing against people like Christian Dyer, all these people who had names and had these opportunities for themselves, and I'm just getting my start. Realistic. People know who I am, but I'm just getting my start, and from that moment on, made headlines. Hey, the news was I lit it up in Vegas Sevens, won MVP. We played in the stadium, just doing all this stuff back to back, and it was a great feeling. So from there on to college, I went to Vegas every year and played. And every year I had a great tournament. My sophomore year, broke my hand. Continued to play with a broken hand because of the fact that I just wanted to continue to push that envelope,
Yeah.
So that's I feel like that's my junior sophomore year was where it all changed for me in high school for Vegas, and then it continued to carry over from college.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And like I love that because of the fact that again, one of the things that have come with US rugby is what are the player pools like, and like you said, there's guys that are very, very much hyped up, and whether they came out of systems that are either private academy systems like a Gonzaga school, or you're coming out of the Woodlands, or coming out of the West Coast, all of them typically have a very, very similar background, very much not a public school background. Usually it's a private school of some sort. And so you hear about, right. And so you hear about these guys and it's like, right. I mean, I get it, but then it's like, but are you really the best, or are you just the best that was available? And so, you put that gangster to the test. And I love being able to be like, yo, I'm gonna press you. Like now, let's
Yeah,
see what it's all about.
full on. I love that. You go, are you the best? Are you the best available? I like that. And the reason why I say that is because of the fact that like I still remember when, we were playing Gonzaga. I think this is when we were like middle school, probably freshmen in high school. And this is when
Yeah,
they're doing their thing. They were at like number one and they came to Warrenton and I'm playing with Warrenton Wolfpack, a little bit of mixed with like the Era Boys who's on Warrenton, a couple guys. I got brought up for 2 games, we spanked them. And I was like, this is number one, but we weren't in their league. So their number one is probably a little bit different, but don't get me wrong. They were raw.
yeah.
Second time around, they came back and spanked us and we never really got to play. They're all just like friendly matches, for their seasons. But, getting to play some of these guys like Ben Sema, people didn't realize how good this dude's foot was. And even before, people would ask me who's the best kicker in the DMV, I'd be like, it's either Ben Sema or Jacob Estes. So it was, in my opinion, it was always between those two. But when we got to play Ben Sema, when I got to play him full on and just watch him put me in every corner that I'm chasing, just wasn't fun, But that's when I knew I was like, all right, like, there's no hype here. He's really him, So
he is him. No.
Ben is him, bro. Like I don't care what nobody say. I don't care if this man don't play a lick of rugby again. He has nothing else to prove. This man has the best foot I have seen in a while, dude.
Man, I love that. So you're in this area where again. I consider this a rugby rich area. Obviously, DC, Sheehy, obviously, primary. Shout out to Sheehy, great guy. And in the Virginia area. So what brought Kutztown to your table? You said they recruited you in 8th grade, but were they recruiting you for rugby or were they recruiting you for football in 8th grade?
Rugby. It was for rugby.
So let's talk about that recruiting process, because I think a lot of people again trying to be able to find talent or find schools that are able to supplement their rugby becomes a real So like how did Kutztown end up finding you, and what was that recruiting process like for you?
Actually, it was fairly quite simple. Believe it or not, I ended up crossing over into their territory. My team's from Virginia. We have a tournament coming up in Pennsylvania, and me personally, I'm playing up. I just know we need extra players. My coach hits me up. Shout out to Greg Hicks. He's and Robin Reed. They're like father figures to me. Hey, we need you for this tournament. Such and such build. Hey, I don't think I can do it. Such and such. He's like, bro, we are short numbers. Like when I tell you short, like. You may not even get a sub. All right, I'm coming. Can't let my team down. They've never let me down. Every time I've needed something, they've been there. Boom, on my way. Stay at my coach's house for the night or whatever. Picks me up, go to the game or whatever. And I'm just looking. I'm just like, I've never seen Kutztown. I've never seen these. I've seen Air Force. I've seen Army. I've seen all these schools or whatever that's doing the recruiting, but I've never seen Kutztown. And I go back or whatever. I'm looking at all these tournaments and stuff at the time. Oh, like these dudes are real. Like this is a real deal. Like I'm learning about Doc Jones, like LC and all of them. So we're at this tournament. It kicks off, whatever, bro. The first game I'm playing against four commits already to Kutztown.
God,
bro, what the hell? And I'm only in 8th grade. I'm just like, come on, bro, be for real, bro.
Like, be for real, like yo, I'm still developing out here, like yo.
And I'm in 8th. I'm like 8th, 9th grade. Like, be for real, bro. They got this one dude in their team. His name is Rambo. He genuinely looks like Rambo, face and all. Like and he's running like him. Like he's not ducking no smoke. He's trying to run it straight every time. I'm just like, nah, bro. Like you need help. Like go. And I asked him like after the game or whatever. We're all in a circle talking or whatever, and he's getting, talking to the same Kutztown coach as, I was or whatever. And, LC, he's like, hold on 1 second. He pulls me aside. He's like, yo, what's your name? Such and such, introducing myself. And he's like, I don't like you. The coach from Kutztown, LC, he goes, I don't like you. And I was like, why? He goes, you're cocky. And I was just like, what do you mean? And he's like, you're yelling at your team or you're getting on your teammates because they're dropping the ball under pressure. But you're not, he's like, you're not doing anything to help them. You gotta uplift him. And I asked him, as I think this is what me and LC, we had our respect. I said, how many times do you allow a mistake to happen on your team before, it becomes repetitive and effective? And he goes, that's a good point. And I think right there, then and there, he realized that like, hey, he's not really mad about the fact that his team is making mistakes. It's just the fact that they're constantly happening, and that's why he's getting frustrated. But then he made it quite clear. He's like, you don't, you got to master emotions a little bit more, and that I understood, and that's why he told me he didn't like me. And then he was like, but other than that, you're a great teammate. You encourage your team, you try, even though you do come off a little, not negative, but like a little harder because you care. He's just like, you still walk over, smack their butt, clap their hands. He's like, getting them up, but we ended up playing Rambo on them, and I don't think we won that game, but I had a hat trick that game,
Nice.
3 back to back, all off of kickoffs. So they stopped kicking it to me, and then that was when, after that game, that was when they were like, "Yo, like, come talk to us,"
Right.
So right then and there, talking to him, he's like, "How do you feel about what's your grades like? What's this? What's that?" And the guy that I was telling you, his name is Rambo. He comes over. He goes, "Oh, you're going to Kutztown too?" I was like, "I'm only in 8th grade, bro." He was just like, "Wait, what?" He goes, "You do realize like you're playing with like seniors and stuff like that?" I was like, "Oh yeah, like that's I don't care. Like, I just want to play."
It's what I do.
I just want to play, But that day forward, that's how everything started for me. Then it went from me looking at Kutztown to looking at life.
Yeah.
Just all these schools. But once I pretty much was like, yo, I'm liking what I like. I'm liking what I see at Kutztown, what I hear. I kept, the Kutztown post on Facebook, all that stuff on my timeline so I can stay updated with it, And like I said, the coaches staying in contact with me every week. It made it, my choice 10 times easier.
Man, I love that. So, okay, I want to kind of hit on something. So, you're talking about already in 8th grade, OC's already talking about like your interconnection with your players, with other players. For you in your sporting career, especially early on, like, have you felt like you are a sports perfectionist, or is it the competitive edge? Like, how is it that you perceive how roles are supposed to be played within your team whenever you're playing with them?
So for example, I tell people all the time, you can't do a job without the proper tools. So like, for example, you can't fix a door without a screwdriver, hammer, and nails.
Right.
Who's our screwdriver? Who's our hammer? Who's our nail? And if I don't need to be in any of those parts, okay, cool. I'll just be the part of the wood that makes the door stand.
Right.
I just try and fit in where I am, depending on the look of our team. So, like, for example, we have our brand Step Brothers. Shout out to all the Step Brothers. We pretty much we know our role, so we all can step. Jihad, he's a stepper, but he knows his first job is to move the ball. AG, he's a stepper, but he knows his first job is to create some space. Same for me. And then, like, for example, we have Noodles. His job is to finish. So everyone knows their role. As long as you know your role, and your role may even change different from game to game, as long as everyone's able to compete and do their role, win or lose, you win because you're perfecting your part. Regardless. And I tell people, like, yeah, the scoreboard matters, but as long as you learn from what you lost or whatever it was that you did, you won. So.
Right.
Generally, that's how I like to look at stuff. Where do you fit in? What is your skill? Where are you most needed?
Right.
And if you can identify that, then that makes it a lot easier. Even if you can't identify it, cool. Get your feet wet a little bit and let's figure this out.
Who installed that thought process for you? Like, is that something that you got from your mom? Is that something from your brother? Like, is that just observation? Like, where did that mindset come in for you to be able to look for that from everybody, and especially expect the expectations from yourself?
One, I would probably say Mike Friday, being around Mike Friday and Perry and Kayvon a little bit. Shout out to them, bro. Being there was different. Because you just got to adjust, and growing up, when I tell you, even now, I still have times keeping my temper under control, but it's never to the point to where it's like you're mistaking my passion for anger or just for being arrogant. I definitely say, I'm still growing, so they're the ones that practically installed that in me. But definitely I'd give it to my brother as well. My oldest brother, he's a father of 3, so patience. Yeah, you're not gonna get it. You gotta crawl before you can walk,
Right.
And sometimes I was the same way. I didn't come into the game learning how to pass with my left hand. I didn't come into the game. I came in knowing how to juke, but not properly know how to step.
Right.
So everything takes time. And if you rush the process, you're going to miss. You're not going to enjoy it. So I don't rush it. And even me, I'm even to this day, I'm enjoying the growing, the learning curve. I'm enjoying making the mistakes that I make, because if I don't make those mistakes, then I will never know what it's like to fall and get back up. So
Right. No, I love that. Kind of going back into your Kutztown days, you enter into Kutztown. What did Kutztown add to your game? How did it? What was the impact that being at Kutztown do for your rugby?
control. I was out of control, like on the field, before I got to Kutztown. I used to run all over the field, and the one thing people don't run away from your support. Don't run away
Right.
from your support. And I used to just try and slow my game down or whatever. And Doc once was just like, bro, if you got to cut across the field, cut across the field. Our job is not to, we have to adjust to you. We have to support you. You don't support us when the ball is in your hands. We have to support you. I was like, what does that mean? Like, what does he mean by that? Like, I've always been told, don't do this, don't. And when I got to Kutztown, I learned how to, control myself as, I don't need to rush. I don't need to run the whole field. If I can let it go early, let it go. You don't have to hold on to everything. And that's what I mean by control, and controlling the game, controlling the pace of the game. People don't realize, like, some people will say, like, you have a change of tempo when you come in. It doesn't always, I've learned being at Kutztown, it doesn't always need to be go, 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 go.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you can just slow the game down, and when you catch them, slipping at a certain point in time, you capitalize on it, but you can't do that if you're going 110% every time.
Right.
So I
No,
would definitely say Kutztown taught me a lot of control.
that makes sense. I was talking with Lance Kavanaugh not too long ago, and he was saying something similar with that when it came to going to Life University, coming off programs where he's used to needing to, once you get the ball, the job is to score. Like, all
Yeah,
you're doing is just let me just get there by any means necessary.
yeah.
And whenever he got to Life, it was about, trust the other side and be able to bring again, as the best, you use control into your game itself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, did and I'm wanting to put a connection, and maybe I can. When you were in Virginia, were you in a predominantly black environment?
So yes, but no. And the reason why I say yes, but no is living in Virginia. I moved living in Warrenton. If you know where Warrenton is, it's Fauquier County, down by Gainesville, Manassas, all of that stuff. So living down there, predominantly mixed. I can't
Okay.
even say full on white, and I can't even say full on black.
About 50-50 on each side with a little bit of
I'm
Hispanic
in a
there.
neighborhood where they have fiends and junkies, every now
Right.
and then. Not in our exact immediate neighborhood, but within the broad area, you're gonna see them.
Right.
You're gonna see a needle. You're gonna see, but it's not necessarily a dangerous area. You just have your junkies who walk around.
Right.
But the area that I'm in, let's just say this: you will go broke, if you will die if you don't try and feed yourself, unless you have family and friends who are caring, willing to help. You have people who will reach a hand out if they know that you need it, but if they don't see that you need it, closed mouth, don't get fed. So you're in a neighborhood that's everyone knows each other, everyone cares about each other. When one
Right.
person dies, or when someone gets into an accident and they die, you're going to know about it within the 10 minutes of them dying, because
Right.
everyone is just that
Small
close.
town.
Yeah. So this will give you also a idea of the type of people that I grew up around. Do you know Blake Corum from Michigan?
I've heard the name.
The running back. Shout out to Blake Corum. Me and him, pretty cool. Grew up around him. Me and his sister went to school together. Who else can I ask? What's his name? Tim Settle, who plays for the Bills. Shout out to my boy Tim. I've Wyatt Teller, who plays for the Cleveland Browns at one point. He went to Liberty. Shout out to him. I used to watch him every Friday night. So, like, and he played with my brother. So it's just like I grew up in a neighborhood or a surrounding where everyone was destined to be something big. It just depends on if you made it out or not.
So this is where I was to the point that I was wanted to theorize. I feel like whenever we're inside an environment like that, there is a different level of pressure to be able to perform, and especially perform at a high level, whether it is physically or academically. But I really emphasize, especially when it comes to sports, physically,
Absolutely.
like we're absolutely like it's you absolutely kill it, and then everybody comes in. But the key is we got to talk about this. Like we're about to we're smack talking. Yo, we're gonna be about this. We're about this ish. Yo, we're about to go push this. So like when it comes into environments that are not necessarily those same environments, especially when it's mixed communities, like that element of do or die is not the same. It's not the same feeling.
100%, 100%, because you don't feel that immediate pressure. You're just, oh, this is just another day. Like if you're not in the neighborhood, oh, this is just another day. I like my eggs sunny side up, a little bit of butter on the side. When you playing those, those games, bro, give me the burnt toast.
Yeah,
I'll eat it.
I'll deal with what I got to deal with. Right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna deal with it. Yo, we're gonna get it, but my objective is the objective. I'm not about to just coast through. I am trying to get to the end. By the ends define the means, basically.
Exactly. And a lot of people don't look at it that way.
Yeah. No, I feel that, and that's why I was wondering. I'm like, when you got into Kutztown, like, what does that change? Because again, Kutztown is bumfuck middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, like, shout out to Kutztown because, like, I'm not gonna lie, the first 2 weeks I was like, I don't know if I can do this.
I can imagine.
But then you start to get there, and you got like people from Philly, you got people from who's making you feel like you're at home. On top of the fact that you're like, all right, like not everyone's like this, but at least I know I have people like this around me.
Right. And that I feel like that's a real, because I know I remember when I visited there, I went there just to be able to check it out because I wanted to know what Kutztown it was. I think I went to Doylestown and I went to Kutztown, and I was just like, yo, this is the town where Christmas movies are made from. Like that small town that the person from the big city goes and nothing's happening.
The town is only, bro, and Kutztown is only 2.2 miles squared. That's how.
That's what I was like, yo, this is real. Like, bro, I'm from like I was born in Pennsylvania, so like I lived in State College, which is it's a university town. It was already small at the time, but it's a university, so you have this element that goes there. But when I went into these legit small towns that have no connection, I'm like, yo, this is from a straight movie. Like this downtown feels like it was made in 1890 and got updated in 1940, and then
So imagine, right? Shout out to my friend Alexis and her family, the Smiths. I had never been to really been to Harrisburg. So while being down there, until like year 2 or year 3, I would say, and I went all the way down to Harrisburg and I went down to Dauphin, like Central Dauphin or whatever, and like Lower Dauphin, all these places, like Paxton. I was like, what the hell is this? Like, bruh. Like they don't even got like real speed limits until I'm just like, nah, bro. I know it sounds like it looks like people don't do nothing besides hop on 4-wheelers and drink 12 packs, and just relax. But it's so beautiful out there sometimes because of like how much land is out there, hiking and stuff like that. You get to go hike mountains and stuff, and then you get to oversee like highways. And I was like, all right, this is cool. This is cool.
It's a perfect balance. It's spare. It's really podunk, but at the same time, like there's a groundedness, for better word or less, that you obtain from it.
Yeah, it literally is just like, this ain't the city, but this ain't like in the middle of nowhere, but this is like borderline countryside of like, I got the city 20-30 minutes away. I have like the neck of like woods 20-30 minutes away, so I'm like in between a little bit of both.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that. So, your time in Kutztown, you guys were successful. You guys have been a successful team, great coaching. How was the development with even your teammates? Because again, learning control on the field is one thing, and then obviously continuing to be able to develop with your teammates and off field. How did that process go for you?
I would definitely say at Kutztown, when I first got there, I ruffled some feathers, for example, just because people thought I was cocky and stuff. But then there's like, nah, like, we've never like had someone say they're gonna do something and then actually do it. Like I remember I was getting into it with Alex Faison Dono for the first time. Kutztown legend. Ooh, shout out to him. He's like my big brother now. I mean, blood couldn't make us any closer. Um, you know, first contact session, this man put me on my ass, ran me over. But he was him and Keena, they were sending a message like, bro, you're still a puppy here. Like,
Right.
I'm just like, my turn.
Bet.
Like,
It's like
stepping,
bet.
boom, 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 hit him, boom, 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 footwork. You know, and LC was just like, yo, like line up with them again. Hey, y'all better hit him. And they couldn't. They could not, like they would take me down, but they could not get a full-on kill shot on me like they were
Right.
like lining everyone else up, like, and LC put me back in front of the line on defense, and he's like, you hit them, like hit them. Say less. Hitting them. Now Alex is like 6'5", 6'4", so it's hard to like get that type of levitation on. So for me, I'm just sticking his legs, sticking his knees, or whatever. Same with Keenan, like so that there gave me a little bit of respect. But even I would just say like my time at Kutztown, me being a teammate there, it was cool. Everyone knew that like as they got to know me, they could come talk to me about anything. At first, they thought I was a little hard or whatever, but they just realized like the reason why I'm so hard on certain people is because we gave everything up for this.
Yeah.
So there's no turning back. And once people realize like, yo, this dream only goes so far, then that's when you realize I don't have any time to waste. So I've had like I graduated in 2020, 2021. So a lot of people even still reaching out to me today, but bro, I appreciate you for being so rough or, giving me those talks, whatever, realizing like, rugby's now for so long, there's not a lot of money in it. So, these days are limited. Don't take them for granted, while you're at training. So a lot of people have realized that, and that's why I'm the way that I am, because you go out and break your leg. Look at Falau Nua, who snapped his leg in half, and when he came back, no one saw him coming back because the injury was so gruesome, but he pulled it off like another 2 or 3 years and then called it.
Wow.
So you never know, how long it's going to take you to call the game, but you never know how long your body's going to hold up either. There's a lot of factors that play into it, but there's not a ton of money in it, so a lot of people are doing it while working multiple jobs, so enjoy it, but make sure it is something that you want to do. And that's what I tell people. Don't waste time, trying to figure it out. Do I want to do this for them? Do I not? Keep a rugby ball in your hand. It's up to you if you want to do it professionally or not. If you don't want to do it professionally, don't do it professionally. Go get another job, play minutes.
Just have fun with it.
Me, I gave everything up. There's a plan B, plan C now, but beforehand there was no plan B. This is do or die, So a lot of people didn't understand. That's why I was so tough. You don't waste my time. Go to another team. Everyone here wants to be successful. Everyone here wants the ball, So that's when people start to understand like that's why he's rough or that's why he's a little tough. But as far as being a teammate, bro, at Kutztown, love my team. My team loved me, So.
No, that's real. That's real. So I want to even 2019. Obviously, 2019 is whenever we met up at the what was it in Texas? Whenever we ran into each other in Texas.
When I was playing for the Reds, was it Red? That was Reds. Was it?
Reds?
May have been.
Yeah, I think because was it Bloodfest? No, it wasn't Bloodfest. Was it Bloodfest?
It could have definitely been Bloodfest. I think the only times I was in Dallas was either when I was recently when I was playing with Houston and when I was playing with Dallas Reds, I think. So yeah, it had to be.
I think that makes sense. That makes sense. I guess I just mentioned that in terms of you had some U23 USA options, right?
Yes.
So what was it like? What was it changed? Because I can imagine. I can't imagine. Did you travel outside the country a lot before rugby?
Before rugby, I had never been out of the country.
What was that experience like and that changed for you whenever it came to now being able to step outside the country to be able to play early on?
My first tour out of the country, I believe, was probably with Kutztown, I think. Was it with Kutztown? Definitely with Kutztown because we had to get our passport for Bermuda.
Okay.
To play in the tournament. It was different. You land on the islands, like, man, like you got the beach, you got clear water. I'm going out there, I'm taking as many photos as I can. I don't know how many times I'm going to be able to do something like this, not realizing, you do what you're supposed to do, and the rugby will take you to those opportunities, but I was making the most out of all that I could with everything. But yeah, like First one was my first out of country was with Kutztown to Bermuda. We won that whole thing. Afterwards, we got to spend time on the water and stuff like that. And it was a blessing. It was a blessing. The only thing I will say is I have not been back to Bermuda since.
It's like it's a need to be, but it's one of those things where you got to have a reason. Like it's not that you don't want to go there.
And chill, bro. You can't just pull up and chill.
That's exactly, like, I need that objective. Like, I can rest after we've succeeded and enjoy it, but I need a reason to be like, yo, I got business to do, and then we happen to be having fun out there with it.
100%. It ain't that. I don't know what people. It is not cheap in Bermuda. I mean, it ain't worth like it ain't like this, but it ain't cheap out there.
Nah, it ain't not cheap. Yo, man, people don't know. Island prices are real because of the fact that it takes inventory takes time to get there.
Yes.
And that ish is expensive.
Yes. Yes.
There's no islands that go. It's beautiful. It feels great. But my God, like, you will feel those dollars slowly just go out of your pockets with a quick.
Yes. I mean, I was down there and we got a budget for food, and I'm, on the side, like, I'll go to some food trucks, like adventure out, $20, $15, $13, $12. Like, damn, man. Genuinely just like sneakingly just eating my bread, like eating my money. And I'm just like, damn, bro.
You're like, I got memories though.
Pay for them.
All right, so I want to kind of talk about your professional career now, because you got a very, very interesting lineup of the professional side, both to the national and then subsequently the MLR and now Premier Rugby 7 side. So going into MLR, all right, you're coming out 2020. We're now starting to do the drafts and actually show it. Yo, what happened? How did I know you ended up going to Old Glory, but why were you not on the draft list when it came to?
It's funny that you asked. So, the clarity point just wasn't there for me as far as like MLR. So at this point in time, the draft was about to happen. The draft happened, I want to say like late October going into the fall. Like,
right.
I'm still in college. I don't graduate until the end of the season. If I sign, I don't even know if my eligibility is still going to be active in college. So no one had that answer. I'm getting answers from, you should stay out the draft. You should go into the draft. It was going to ruin your eligibility. They're not going to ruin your eligibility. Like, no one knows. No one can give me a solid answer.
Because it's so new at this point.
Exactly. So I'm genuinely just like, I don't want to ruin this for myself. Like, I'm scared. Like, so I just sat out. And then once we got the clarity, I entered the supplemental draft, the second one that was right after that. Yeah, I mean, the question that you asked, I got like probably like 6, 7, 8 text messages asking me the same thing, and I gave them the exact same answer. I don't know what I don't know, so I'd rather just sit out until I figure it out.
Honestly, and I'll be honest, that makes the most amount of sense, because again, when you're at Kutztown, unlike a lot of other universities, Kutztown is under the university varsity system, which means that there is a level.
And that's the thing. No, that's the thing. We weren't even NCAA, but we were an elite sport, so we were getting a little bit of money from the school. So we had to be careful. We had to be careful.
Yeah, the idea of ineligible players, and you said, you still had until the spring of the following year before you graduated. The worst thing that you could happen, which would be either 7th season or you're going into 15th championship season, is that your team by any means is considered ineligible by the school to be able to have perform. Because
look at Wheeling Jesuit years before, when they had the pro rugby league and people were coming back, it started to raise some red flags. People lost their eligibility, people lost their amateur status, and I was just like, that was the only thing going through my mind was what was going on at Wheeling Jesuit, how they had players leaving pro rugby, the first league that they had that failed and came back in, so I just didn't want to be another statistic on that side of the board. So cool, I'll get my degree as well. There's no reason for me to rush it. I'm almost done anyway, so
why not? And I would always add, like, it wasn't super inconsequential. Like, unlike whether it's the NFL or NBA draft, like right now, the MLR ones have not hit the level of impact, especially at that moment where it's like, it's do or die. This is your one opportunity. And then it's
Bro, I'm
going.
gonna be real with you. It ain't like if I was a join or sign, they paying me $8 million guarantee,
Right.
$6 million. I'm not, bro. All that shout out to MLR. I'm not trying to throw any shade, disrespect to y'all, nothing like that. But at the end of the day, y'all not worth. Y'all aren't paying me enough to abandon my degree. So
Right.
something that I'm gonna have, something that you can't take away from me. So I would never, do that because of the fact that just because they think you look good, or they want you to do that. Well, they didn't waste $40,000 doing a university, chasing a degree, $50,000 a year chasing a degree. So just little stuff like that where it had to come and play for common sense for me. I was almost, like I said, I was almost finished.
I love that. I love that. So whenever that next step, I remember, I think in 2020, 2021, I was expecting you to immediately start going into the national team. And it took way longer than I expected for you to get there. So before we talk to MLR, I want to go into the USA national team pathway. What, from a player's perspective, what is the process of getting onto the national team?
I can't even speak for everyone else. I can just tell you about myself. Shout out to Mike Friday. I don't know, like people think me and Mike Friday got bad blood or something like that. Nah, like Mike is like I call Mike Friday. I call him Uncle Mike sometimes because he's funny. He's a good dude. He means well, and he's a great father. I tell people all that. Tell people that all the time. I mean, the way he interacts, the way he's there for his kids, you don't see that very often. So, Nah, I mean, I think my first initial contact with Mike was like 18, 19 or something like that, maybe. Maybe a little bit older. About 18, 19, but going in and out from college and stuff like that. And at one point Mike asked me if I would want to go through residency. And I was like, I'm not willing to drop out of school or not finish my degree. And he's like, well, you can come here. He's like, y'all don't offer what I'm going for. I have a degree in criminal justice and a minor criminal justice and law and a minor in psychology. So I'm kind of just like, y'all not really offering those, and he understood. So he just kept trying to get me out to camps and stuff like that as often as he could, but I couldn't keep coming out because I'm missing exams and stuff like that. And also my grandmother is getting very old. She is my why every single day. And he knew that. So when she got sick, immediately, nope, can't do it. Going home, and he would always try and tell me, like, your grandmother would want you to do it, and I would tell him, like, I know she would, but right now it's not about what she wants. It's about the fact that she is sick right now and she's not doing well, or I need to go check on her. I haven't seen her in months, just all this stuff because, I lost a lot of people that I was close with while traveling, while on tours and stuff. So when it comes to my grandmother, I don't play. Like
it's the line in the sand.
Yeah. So, that was a factor. And then he wanted me to do residency, but I personally couldn't commit to residency because, like I said, I'm a person where my parents can't support me like other people's parents can. I get everything from the mud, and the thing is he's like, oh, well, the bonuses will help you with that's only if you get picked on tour, and a lot of people didn't understand. Like for me, yeah, they'll pay you as you prove yourself, but I tell them all the time, like, which I'm not going to say any numbers in it, but what I was offered, it just was not enough. Not even, and I'm not trying to disrespect nobody, but that's just not, and you're living in San Diego.
Why can't you say numbers? It puts a perspective onto it. Like, because look, I guess I'm looking at, and I don't want to put you in a position if you don't want
to.
No,
you're not. You're good. You're good.
I think there's, again, it's something that I think speaks a lot of volumes to exactly what it takes to go through the process. I remember talking with Naya Tapper and talking with Sarah Sal about it, and they would both. I mean, we knew Naya up until 2021 was.
Shout out to Naya too, because that girl,
real talk.
She's a dog, let alone she's one of my good friends. I got an issue. I can go straight to her, text her, call her, and she's just like, oh, what's up, bro? Like, you need to chat. She sent me products just to try out all of this stuff. So, shout out to Naya. Like that's my dog.
Right. She was one that I had seen a process of trying to build a legitimate brand that rugby was not trying to do for her. And then when I would talk with Sarah Sal, she would talk about the fact of the lack of resources, even for the Olympic team and for the men's team, and what that process and struggle would be of just trying to go on a day-to-day. So it's not a factor of like, oh, saying it to be like an insult to it, but
Mm-hmm.
more so to be like, all right, this is what the true sacrifice and commitment would end up being, and that being part of the residency program in expensive ass California.
Yeah, bro. like this is it for me. Like, all right, so when I came in, they offered me like $1,500 a month.
Okay.
Living it, and yes, you get your meal plan, you get this, you get that, you get your meal plan, you get room and boarding. But I guess for me, with my own bills coming in, credit card bills to build my credit to try and further things for myself, school, having to be financially stable, go grocery shopping, keep up with myself. That's $1,500 a month isn't going to do. And regardless of if they're feeding us, it's no after training some days, no one's going to want to go to the cafeteria every single day to eat.
Right.
Sometimes they serve bullshit. And Mike, you know it yourself. Coaches know it themselves because they're like, I'm not eating that today. Like, we know, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's not all, but is it probably the healthier option? Yeah, unless I sit here and cook, and that's fine. I don't mind cooking for myself. I love cooking for myself. But my thing is will I make enough to save? Will I make enough to do more? And the thing is they're like, you have to take that risk and that sacrifice. That's a big risk and sacrifice considering how we do well at the beginning of the year some years, and then we just drop. Mike does his job. Can't even tell him he don't. It's not Mike is a good coach, but I think personally, I'm glad that all those boys are willing to do that. I'm not willing to put my pocket in someone else's hands and be like, bro, I need you to be on your A game. That's not fair to me. Right. It's not fair to no one. So that's another thing. Like, you get those bonuses and stuff like that, plus what you make, your monthly stipend or whatever. But it's just too many what ifs for me, and it's just not, guaranteed. And I've seen, for example, people who are doing very well for themselves now, who was there struggling, going through it. And now he's a celebrity. He has 3 million subscribers on YouTube,
Right.
Like shout out to my boy Travion Clark,
Nice.
4-Man podcast, we go to an airport, people recognize him still to this day, so he used his platform with USA to make something bigger for himself. That I gotta respect. But I would be wrong if I said, but I would be wrong if I haven't said that I've thought about getting into going back to the USA program or trying to put my full efforts in, and just say, you know what, put your head down and struggle. It's going to be all good, because I can't guarantee it's going to be all good. No one knows that answer. And that's not a risk I'm willing to take when I've already come so far and come from nothing. I don't want to go back to not having really anything in my pocket, not, struggling, pissing myself off because I can't purchase something that I really, really need, so that's where I'm at a crossroads. And I just wish people understood, life ain't going to stop because you're not getting your way,
Right.
And that's where I was at with everything. Mike offered me a contract, and I kindly declined it unless he can make some adjustments. He's like, I'm not going to give you special treatment, and I greatly appreciate that, because I'm no better than the next person. I'm no better than the man I'm talking to in the mirror, so I understood where Mike was coming from that point, and he was just like, we can negotiate something, once you come here, we can put some clauses in the contract, this and that. But also shout out to my agent, but my agent was fresh to the whole thing as far as like, dealing with that kind of, and Mike put it on him, so it's just one of those things where Mike has a job and it's to get players in for that budget, so shout out to Mike. There's no hard feelings there. I definitely miss, playing with the boys, being the dog, but I'm still in the player, the player pool, the pool player. So I'm not necessarily, so I'm not necessarily out right now. It's just not for me, I don't think. But again, I miss it when I go back, absolutely. But it's just that one risk that I'm just not comfortable with yet. Like I said, I live in New York now, so.
I was about to say, like, even with that, and I'm kind of ride. Well, let me ride this one, and then we'll go back to a different question.
Hey everybody, this is just the Break Train sending out a personal little video diary to all you people out there, where I am going to document me riding most of the way between Singapore and Tokyo for the 2019 Rugby World Cup. Number one is because it's It's part of my business. I do Rugby Lovers Guide to Asia. Number 2 is I want to bring a lot of exposure to the rugby clubs and the rugby NGOs and charities. Also, on a personal level, I just want to break the funk I've kind of felt I've been into for the last 10 years.
So for the next 12 months, I poured myself into this Singapore to Tokyo campaign, but it still wasn't enough. I needed help, and it came from Louisiana.
We in Singapore, baby!
Gift from GiftTime Rugby USA is a extroverted tour de force,
Say hi to my people out there.
which makes up for my social shortcomings.
This place is unbelievable. No! It's not just it's like
What's he supposed to do?
morons, a bunch of morons. Guys, picture with me. Picture. Australian. G'day, mate. You can use my phone.
But what unites us is a hunger for adventure.
Off to KL, Kuala Lumpur.
Gift, where are we?
We're in
Mount Fuji, baby.
Our love of Asian rugby culture.
1, 2, 3, center!
Rugby is starting to develop here in Cambodia for women as well.
Valkyries, the mighty, mighty Valkyries!
And allows us to overcome incredible obstacles.
It's just got so thick. It's just so thick here. Now it's pouring down rain again.
But coming to this Thai-Cambodia border has renewed all the aggression.
So the whole thing's gone buggered. I got hit.
What?
I got tail-ended by a motorbike.
I can just feel that knee, that ankle just going in all the wrong directions under the weight of my body. But that doesn't compare to the pain of failure.
I'm dying. Oh, I'm dying.
And that's what I've been worried about this whole time. We're out here, we're running out of energy, we're running out of money, and we're feeling isolated. And yet at that critical moment, friends, family, sometimes complete strangers come on board. Before you know it, we're back in the game.
Tokyo, here we come.
Making a comeback. 4 weeks, 2,300 miles. Malaysia, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam.
After all the trials and tribulations, this ride had become deeply personal. All that mattered now was getting to that Rugby World Cup game in Tokyo.
Watch the full adventure at crugby.vhx.tv. That's C like SEE rugby.vhx.tv. Yeah, buddy. All right. Be easy. But like, you know, now that you're in a situation where you have that understanding, are you doing things like there's technical ways and there's artistic ways of being able to ascribe. You talked about your boy Trevion Carter, who artistically has found ways to be able to find ways to create business and supplementation off of what he took from USA Rugby. For you, are you being able to find those technical ways that are able to create a foundation for yourself where you're now able to feel some level of comfort that is coming, or at least some consistency that is coming?
So now, you know, I took this year off of pro rugby, not this year, but this past year, to focus on second career path. So right now I work government IT for a software company, which, you know, I'm not ecstatic with, but, you know, gets the bills paid to get something going for
the process.
So, but next, I don't know if you've seen, but I'm about to head out to Australia and live out there for a couple months. I'll be in Perth playing for a club called Joondalup. Shout out to Joondalup Rugby Brothers. I'll be out there. And while I'm out there, I plan on, you know, streaming, doing my vlogs again, episodes, my webisodes, I should say, and just, you know, being more of an update. A lot of people have been asking, you know, where I've been, why have I been, you know, disappearing from the scene, coming and going. You know, I've just been working, you know, and I also have the Stepbrother brand as well that I'm working on as well. So things are coming just slowly. I'm just, I'm just not in a rush, and
Right.
I feel like the more
You're
I
young.
rush things instead of
You
like,
got so much. You still got a lot of time.
yeah, instead of rushing things, and if I can just plan them out and figure out how it may all work out beforehand,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. But as far as um, getting back on the scene and stuff like that, yeah, I mean, just taking my time. But after everything that's happened, that's why I kind of took a break, because a lot of the stuff that I went through. Shout out to all the people that I called and you guys picked up the phone. They could tell you it was just rough. What I went through, I wouldn't wish on any human being. So
Okay. So now that you spoke on it, what was it like being on the USA camp? Because I know obviously being out in Chula Vista is, San Diego. You guys have a lot. I've heard like the way that the coaching is a different level of tough. So from your perspective, what were you able to? What was it like? I guess what was that front like in terms of a training component versus what you dealt with Kutztown, what you did at Warren, what did you do with Las Vegas Sevens?
Bro, I'm getting winded and sick just thinking about it. Man, I mean Mike, Phil Greening, Josh, they all create some dogs. I give credit when it's due. I had never been into like the best shape of my life until I got there.
Yeah.
I will genuinely say they push you.
Yeah.
Things get really, really, really tough. They push you. Um mentally, physically, emotionally, like it's just they push you, and then you have Perry. Okay, like you want to try and keep up with them, but you just know there's no way. Like as far as like fitness, like there's no way, bro. Like until you realize, like, all right, this is doable. Just keep my head down, keep grinding. That's what I did. Just kept grinding, and it paid off. That's when I got my first cap. But you have to go through the storm. It's gonna be dark as shit. And for me, I didn't even go through all the darkness, but it was dark as hell, just for some of the times that I was there when I was healthy. It was really, really dark. I tried to go to a couple of times.
Is it just because it's so physically demanding, or is it like mentally, like
you have everyone there competing for a spot. Nothing
right.
is set in stone. On top of like mentally, you're just like, oh, like bro, I was up at 7 this morning. Like I have lifting, then we have this learning session, then we have a physical session, or we may have another session on top of knowing you still got to do fitness right after you're done with the session. On top of like, like we have a Bronco coming up, and my time right now is not the greatest. Like just little shit like that, and it just not the greatest feeling, I should say. Like it definitely it pushed you to a point to where it pushed you to a point to where you had to either nut up or shut up.
Right. I mean, kind of speaking to how you always were with other competitions, where you said like, yo, you want to step up to the best competition, you got to step up. Like, do you feel like, despite the fact of the difficulty of it, that was an environment that you preferred because it's built, or was it like, man, I wish there was some leeway, or it's like I needed to build up more. I wish I had more time before I had a chance to deal with that.
Nah, I wouldn't have wanted it any other way.
Yeah.
Just more clarity on why we're doing certain things.
Yeah.
That's all I can really say is the clarity part on certain things, because sometimes we do workouts and this ain't making no sense. Like put the ball in our hands, instead of just making us run. But other than that, nothing. I mean, Mike knew what he was doing. He executed. Josh knew what they were doing. They executed, So we didn't get the results that we wanted, and I wonder why that is.
Okay,
and I have an idea of my own mind, but just because I think it doesn't mean that it's correct.
Okay, so kind of let's build on, because this is something that I've had a long question about, especially over the last 10 years or 8 years, let's say 8 years since the 2016 Olympics, right?
Absolutely.
So, we have a team that we know that is excessively talented. At one point we had, Perry, Carlin, Danny, all these people going through. to an extent, then, come the 2020 Olympics, 2021 Olympics, it's the last stage of Carlin, Perry on the back end, and you have 2 back-to-back 9th place finishes that come from that. You have an HSBC tournament that you're seeing relatively about the same placement outside of like maybe 2 that would be a first or some placement. From your perspective, from the men's side, and again, it's your perspective, there's nothing guaranteed, but seeing the competition that you're playing against, understanding who you're playing with, understanding the process, what is it that's happening with the USA men's side that they're just not finishing when it matters most? Like this past weekend, 4-0 in pool play.
Not one.
Knocked out in quarterfinals. Like, what is it that's happening once we get past? Is it a mentality of just like the pool, or?
I genuinely think sometimes the ball just don't bounce your way in sevens, but I don't know. Like me personally, when I can't, like I said, that's why I said, because I'm not there now, so I can't speak on what I don't know. But when
Well,
I
you know what you were
wasn't,
whenever
but
you were like
based off of what
Singapore.
I do know,
Yeah.
based off of what I do know, Mike, I'm not gonna say Mike because it's not necessarily Mike. I think Josh, you're too busy trying to run the players, and y'all don't play enough. Yeah, you do a lot of like ball in hand stuff, but you need to play more instead of like the fitness. Your fitness should come through playing. We shouldn't be getting on the line twice a month or twice every 2 weeks or once every week for a Bronco. We should be playing, but if that's what you feel you have to do, then that's what you got to do. I mean, the fitness part definitely comes into play. It's just about does that fitness create chemistry?
Right.
When it's late and you see everyone is dirt tired, are you creating chemistry, or are you just trying to do a mental test on how tough they are? And I think that's where you got to be, because you got to know your players. Like if they're dead, if they get to this point and they're dead and you need to take them out, to start prepping, put things in play to set that up for you to take him out and help your team still be successful. But I'm not saying Mike's not doing that. I don't know what he's doing, but from the looks of it, I got a couple messages this past weekend, they just said the chemistry, people look dirt tired, but just because the chemistry was off. When people are tired, people just sling the ball, throw it anywhere. Right. But I don't think that was it. I mean, there was definitely some bad calls in that game, 100%, but do I blame everything on the ref? Absolutely not. Just you put it in their hands to, call those things, instead of eliminating them out of the game, and that's what you get. I mean, it's not like USA is far from where they need to be. From what I've seen this past weekend, they are looking really, really good.
Right.
I think, those late game situations, you're good. But I don't doubt that Kayvon and Perry and them are going to get them ready. Those are some of the best people I've been around when it comes to that type of stuff. Even myself, when I was playing late game, I personally don't think I should be in last. I'm new to the circuit, last 2 minutes of the game against Fiji. I get taken out of bounds. I know I helped score a game winner against South Africa, but you can't keep putting me in positions like that. I'm still fresh.
Right.
That's not fair to me that you're putting all that pressure on me, And I think sometimes you need to understand the players who don't like being put in that position, or, don't keep putting them in that position until they're comfortable with it, So there's a lot of what ifs, ands, buts that could be said, but Mike Friday, he knows what he's doing. I'm not taking that away from him like at all. He's a great coach. And like I said, from when I was there, I've never had any, we butt heads maybe once or twice, but it was nothing about like anything like that. It was just, probably about me trying to play while I'm injured, or, not taking care of my body the proper way, and he was right, so like, I don't take nothing from Mike, when like I said, from that situation. Like you're getting them boys ready. They look good. It's just one game, Canada's up next. So I'm excited to see what happens.
No, I love that. You spoke about Kayvon and Perry being like really big mentors in how you
100%
game. Can you talk about that? Because these are for what it's worth, legends in the game. I remember Kayvon whenever he was playing at Highland in Arizona, New Mexico
when he was Vontae's.
Highland something. Yeah. Him and that one other dude that Jeremy, they were absolutely killing it. Yeah. So like being able to see where they've been and to where they are now, You know, that's a lot of talent, a lot of wisdom that's gone off from that. You know, from your perspective, what was it like? What was it that what is it about them that makes them special, in your opinion?
Maturity. The way they handle things. Like, Kayvon, I've seen this man get mad as hell, but he controls himself. Perry, I've seen Perry throw a temper tantrum. But it's sometimes, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes it ain't reasonable. But who are you to tell another man how to control how he's feeling?
Yeah.
Why is he this frustrated? What's gotten to him? What has happened? You know, so some people don't take that into consideration. I've seen them both pissed off, but the way they dial it back in and bring it back in, that's what makes them. That's why Kayvon is your captain. That's why Perry holds where he is. You know, I'm not comfortable when I'm getting on the circuit, getting my debut again. Perry goes, bro, just fucking play. I'm just like, I got you, bro. He's like, dude, he's like, you here for a reason. Do you? I'm in the middle of the game trying to tie my shoe. He's like, man, fuck that shit. Get up, Tay, run. Like, like he's like, don't worry about that right now. Like, you doing too much. Like, just, you know, in the middle of the game, we're having these conversations. I'm just like, how is he willing to talk to me like right now? And I can't even speak without stuttering because I'm so nervous, you know, but that goes to show you why he's out there.
Yeah. No,
Composure. Keeps it.
I love that. I love that. And then lastly, I kind of, as we're kind of wrapping this up, you know, what was it like playing these other competitions? Because, you know, there's one thing to be able to watch these guys, New Zealand, Fiji, South Africa, seeing them from the TV, seeing them from the stands, but being down on the field with them, what was it like? Does it feel like you're just at another Las Vegas tournament, like invitational tournament? Or is this like,
other than the fact that you just know who you're playing against and you know what you're on TV and shit like that, like it's just another game. I'll lace them up the same way you lace them. Only person I didn't say that to is playing against Jerry Tuak. You're not about to put me on your hair. You're not doing that to me, bro. I will mirror you all day. I will let you score. But you're not about to do that to me, bro. And
you're not about to get hand to face in my
what? Not on national television. Like, brother. No. You know, but like I said, the way that whole thing went, I carried all that over, you know, to the MLR. I mean, I had the same mentality when being in the MLR as well, you know. So that's when everything else started to take a little bit of different turn. Like, being in those type of environments, playing against people like that, it prepped me for, you know, more. But part of playing sevens is why I took a break from the MLR as well. There's a lot more to the story, but, you know, the route was very, very messy.
Yeah.
And I know you're going to want to get into that at some point, you know, and I have no problem telling you, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's not ideal. And when people are always asking to hear my story, I don't say much. I keep my mouth shut. But if I told people kind of what happened, why it happened, a lot of people wouldn't believe me unless you've been there. So a little different, but you know.
Because I'm the only reason I haven't talked into the MLR and then subsequently the Premier Rugby Sevens is because I do feel like there's so much. It is the least stable ground of all the outcomes that go with it. So sometimes it feels like it's punching down because it's just like there's obviously look. Okay, let me go into
stop trying to be nice, bro. Stop trying to be nice, bro.
Look, I got my opinions. All right, obviously, I have my opinion, and a lot of my opinions come from a media standpoint. I've always said I'm not the biggest fan of the approach that a lot of this is in. Like, you know, right. Whether it is from, you know, I give respect to owners for wanting to put their money in and trying to put together this team. And I feel like a lot of owners or fans who had resources to kind of get it kicked off and started. And as a result of that, you work almost in a format that's like a club. You might have more people around, but it's like a club. The problem with that is that you're talking about professional sports. And it's for me, when it
100%.
comes to professional sports, you're talking about professional entertainment. And if you are not presenting this as both an entertainment business as well as just a rugby passion, you lose a massive component of what you're supposed to be trying to do. And
100%.
add another component, you're talking about, you bring in foreign players. If you're bringing in foreign players and you're saying you're trying to elevate the game, these guys then have to be more than just elevation of what's happening on the field. And so whenever it's like, yo, if you're going to be like, I bring in these guys, I'm setting aside these American players, even though initially the idea was so it could elevate American players, but now you're going, I need to see what I can do on the product. I say you're supposed to be able to make the most and maximize out those guys. I need to see them everywhere. They need to be talking. I need to be seeing the most, or else bring the American players that connect more with the product, with the people on the ground, and then subsequently your payment comes. The payments increases come because you presented more, you entertained more, you created more connection, and hence more connection creates more revenue. It's almost the consistency. We've seen the blueprint. This is America. We know how to do pro sports. I don't follow Europe. I don't believe Europe is anywhere near the top of the game when it comes to this. So it also is a little embarrassing as an American to be able to be like, yo, we struggle at something that we should be forward thinking.
I don't think you understand how hard it is when people are like, oh, you play professional rugby or whatever, blah 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 blah. Or like some of my friends who are like out and about, they're pro or whatever. They're like, we're going to the bar, we're gonna get a section. I'm not one to do the materialistic things or whatever, but when I'm going out with the boys and stuff, I'm gonna have a good night. Sometimes it's kind of hard when you're just like, yo, bro, like I don't got $4,000 to burn. I mean, I would never burn that on a section anyway.
But still, it's like it's the principle of the situation.
You know, I will say this. I'm grateful for the MLR because it gave me some experiences that, you know, I would have never gotten if it wasn't for them. You know, I'm grateful for a lot of the people who believe in doing things the right way, and that's including Mike Friday. Do I always agree with everything the way people do them? No, but I can sometimes see when you're on the right track and if you meant well. You know, and you can't ever take that from someone if they mean well. You know, I always say good intentions, bad decision, you know, and that's a lot of what happened. But then with Mike and I, based on both of our parts, but what happened previous for me getting my MLR, or not my MLR start, but my USA debut and stuff, you know, it was destined to happen because of everything that I had been through. You know, Mike could see I was fighting. I was between a rock and a hard place. And Mike knew I wanted that shot. I had nothing left to lose. You know, and I told Mike, like, I didn't make the original starting squad, like the travel squad. I got pulled in because someone got hurt. So the shit that I was going through was just unbearable. There was times, you know, I was, you know, I didn't make it. I went home crying because I knew for a fact that this might be it for me. You know, the MLR, I will say, just keep working. You know, that message is to them. Just keep working, bro. You know, MLR, don't let the players down. You know, because I'm a prime example of letting a player down. So,
can you expound on that if you don't mind?
So, yeah. So, for example, Players Union, we love you guys. You know, the Players Union, we need you guys. A little background on me is I originally got drafted by New York, ended up getting traded to, you know, DC before I even stepped foot, you know, before the draft was even completed, got traded to DC. While being there, I don't really do the whole culture different stuff like that. I'm just a normal person and you know, this is my first year playing pro. I'm fresh out of college. So yeah, I'm a little immature learning.
Right.
But you give me a job, I did it. You know, my coach wanted me to get to 200 pounds before, you know, the season really.
God, dog.
So I got to 200 pounds and was still keeping my speed and all of that.
Nice.
Doing that, I think my rookie year, I came off the bench with the most tries scored per minute off of the bench. Like, we had at the home games putting signs up, put Noble, and we came here to see Noble, you know, on the news, people, you know, reaching out. I was pretty much doing everything I could to bring more attention to GC.
Right.
Granted, you come in on these APC contracts and they're not what they're supposed to be. They're $15 an hour, $13.
What?
That's what I was on coming in. It was like 15. My checks are like my rookie year coming in. Also because I didn't go into the draft. I'm guessing I don't think any rookie the freshman year, if you were in the draft, the rookie year, if you were in the draft, you were able to negotiate anything real unless they wanted you full contract, full time. You were on APC. The APCs were not negotiable. So they were having me on 15 an hour, and I didn't bitch. I made sure I did my due diligence. Like players that needed a ride, yo, Tay, I need a ride to the store. I need this. I got you. I'm on my way. Hey, yo, you got any extra space in your car for training? I got you. Leave me downstairs. Like we'll leave it at 10. All those little things I made sure I stayed on top of. It's not my responsibility. Even being a teammate, it's not my responsibility.
Right.
End of the year come, me and the coach are having negotiations, and he offered me like the lowest number, and I'm just like, mm-mm. It's not even about money at this point, but if you had done what I had done, been the impact player that I was, let's say your son was me, would you let your son accept that contract?
Right. Give me the value of what you provided has increased from what it was when you first started. The moment you touch the field and you're seeing that you can make the impact and you are actually showing out, you should be able to see the return on that.
They'll be like, "Oh, Tay, you're moping." Well, yeah, I'm gonna mope because you brought in, when I'm playing actually very, very well, you bring in a star without saying anything to me. You just bring in competition, and then all of a sudden, just don't play me. Mm-hmm. And your backup ain't even not the star, but your backup ain't even playing that well, and you know it, and you're not even playing. It's just like you almost had a personal vendetta or beef against me, And me and one player, we did not get along throughout the year, and that's just because like he was just more like a bully at the time. And I was like, bro, I don't know who you think you're gonna bully, but you're not gonna bully me. And at that point in time, I guess people thought I should have, but then people started to see what it was that I started to go through.
Yeah,
because they started to feel the same way. But it was a little too late because we were getting towards the end of the season, and now y'all are just now starting to pick up on it when he tried to put his hands on me.
Wait, what?
It was just a little bit of a mess going on. That's because I'm not one to let someone just bully me, talk shit, and get away with it. After a while, I just ignored it. But then it just got to a point where he started making comments that he probably shouldn't have been making. Right. So then I was just like, all right, bro, like you're gonna get yourself in trouble. Like, we're going, and this is every team has this one. Every team, I don't care what you say. Everybody has that one player that they don't get along with someone or whatever. It just may be that way. Y'all don't see eye to eye. Him and I genuinely just did not see eye to eye. Sometimes I try to be genuine. He would show me fake love. But I won't ever say any names because of the fact that he played that much. That one player played that much of a part in a decision that the coach made. Mm-hmm. And there's no hatred, there's no nothing, because that player was actually really fucking good. Like really good. I give him his flowers. I mean, when I tell you this man had a lot to take on, he had a lot to take on. So give him his flowers, but at the end of the year, it was time for me to leave. They offered me another contract, and the number wasn't there because of the fact that it wasn't really about the money, but it's like, okay, like I need to make a little bit more than this. You know what I mean? Well, I can go to McDonald's and get a different job and make more, and make more here. Pretty much I ended up leaving, going to LA. Mm-hmm. The first thing, because of me and that person getting to the first narrative, I get paint on me. He's difficult.
Isn't this the Black Hollywood thing again?
What did I do that was so difficult? Because I won't let you run over me. Because when we're having a conversation, I expect you to treat me like a man, and I should be able to come to you when I have concerns. Everyone's always just like a player needs to voice his opinions and stuff like that, or don't say anything at all. You don't say anything at all, you get built up frustration, and then you wonder why people lash out the way they are, or why people act why they're so quiet, or even when I don't have an attitude. Or I'm not moping, you look like you're moping. You look like you have an attitude. Oh, what did I do? I'm just breathing. Because I'm not like this all day long. And coaches got to realize, like, yo, that player may be dealing his own battle in his own head or whatever he got going on. Let him Is he here? Is he giving you what he has? Is he showing? He doesn't have to smile 24/7. Sometimes it's hard for people to smile when they're going through stuff, but they still show up. And I think that's the message that some people have to look at. But that whole thing was going on. Go to LA. LA was a little bit different, but not much. I'm surrounded by Adam Ashley Cooper, Matt Gittu, all these legends, Billy Meeks. I'm just like, oh man. But when I go out there, I sign for a certain number, don't even see half of that.
Because was that the same year that Giltini ended up shutting down everything, right?
Yeah, but even the number,
legal
but
issues.
even the number beforehand just wasn't making sense. Listen, when I was with LA, I signed for a certain number. I was only getting, mind you, I'm living in LA. I'm only making $465 a check every 2 weeks. Living.
I'm sorry, $465.
Yes, every 2 weeks. If I was lucky, $490.
Wait, every 2 weeks? Were they paying for housing?
They were paying for housing, but they were paying for my housing. No meal plan. They
so they paid for housing, but you didn't get food.
No, we had to buy our own food. I had to pay for car insurance.
That's literally your entire check
on top of my own bills that I got back at home.
Wow.
So this is where things start to take a turn. And that's why I asked you sure this is something you really want to talk about and get into? Because you might want to actually end up saving this for having an episode 2. So, my man, I'm using all of my money that I've saved up, going broke, eating In-N-Out Burger, eating McDonald's because regular groceries are too expensive. This is inflation. So, and I gotta pay for gas. So, I don't even care no more. The staff and Steve Haas, Steven, all Clancy, all them guys were great. We good coaching. They looked out for me. They tried to, be patient with me. They did their part. The GM at that point in time, I let him know what was going on. Like, hey, we signed for this number. These numbers aren't adding up. At the end of the year, you'll get whatever the remainder is. Think I got that?
No, because the dude
I had to
bailed.
So I had to, and yeah, a lot of them took him to court, Adam Gilchrist to court and stuff like that, but not me. I'm too busy focused on sevens now because I got picked up while being there. At one point, I didn't even want to go to sevens. They shipped me off. And I was like, isn't this like my option, like my choice? It was like, no, you're going. Like, so you just forcing me to go somewhere I don't want to go. He was like, yeah, you're going. So, cool. Lucas LeCamp picks me up, head out.
Mm-hmm.
Get there, we're chatting, and I, at the camp, I'm having this conversation with Mike. Adam Fryer or the GM is trying to blame Mike Friday for what had happened with the numbers. Mike goes, like me and Mike, I know Mike's not lying. We have a good relationship. Mike don't lie to me. Like he don't. He'll give it to me straight. Like even if it hurts my feelings. Mike, he does not lie. And you got to remember, I've been in and out of it since like 18, 19. So I know how the pay structure and stuff works.
Right.
Mike gets on, the GM. He goes, why is he only making this much? Why is he doing this? Why are you trying to take? So when you get a player from like an MLR team, them grabbing me from LA and bringing me to the USA Sevens, normally you have to pay you have to pay to have that player released, or you know how it works. You have to pay
covering the contract basically to be able to release them and re-sign basically to the other.
Exactly. LA tried to take that money from me, the little bit of money that I would have gotten on my tour as well. And Mike was like, you're not taking that from him. So, but while this whole negotiation thing is going back and forth of how often I'm coming, before I even get there, I wasn't even brought into the conversation. And that's why I say like how often I'm going or when I'm going or when I'm coming, none of that was brought up to me or nothing. It's just when I got there, everything was worked out. I didn't have my agent, didn't know nothing, it was like a wool over my head.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why I can't really get mad is because it's just like
it was protecting a little bit.
So but mind you, all this, I'm supposed to be getting paid, I'm struggling at this point, trying to make ends meet, and being at the camp, I lost my uncle, I lost one of my uncles while being there. So I was just going through it, not really having any money in my pocket. And you got to remember, I didn't make the original tour. So then I got that call back, once I got the call back, I was already at home. I didn't go back to LA or nothing like that. Like I caught the first flight home.
Back to Virginia?
Yeah. Well, back to Pennsylvania, back to Kutztown. I caught the first flight back home, and I told him I'm not coming back because after talking to Mike, like we're talking about numbers and stuff, I realized like, I'm getting gypped, bad, doing the math, doing the taxes, everything. I reach out to HR and I tell them what's going on. Guillotines are forced to send me like almost a $2,000 check, $2,500 check because that's how much. So they're forced to send me that. Just imagine how much they were skipping me on each check.
Yeah.
So I'm going through that. And the reason why I was so pissed at Mike is like, Mike, you got to come to me about this shit, man. You have to tell me what is going on. So that way I'm not thinking you're involved or you're the bad person. That's just how it was. And me and Mike got closer during that situation because Mike understood, like, he just wants to play. Like, he doesn't want to do the back. He just wants to play rugby, So I left LA. Mm-hmm. Once I left LA, I was chilling, took the rest of the year off, did pickup tournaments and stuff like that. I'd already dealt enough the year before with DC saying I was difficult. Didn't do anything really other than have that run in with that one person. And me and the coach, when we never really got into it. He would just, he would say certain stuff to me. I'm just like, bro, you wouldn't say that on the street, or you wouldn't, you wouldn't say that to a regular person. You wouldn't say that to him. You probably smack your lips off your face if you said that to him. You're only saying that to me because you know that I'm fresh and I'm dying for everyone to approve of me. I feel like I want to be accepted so bad that I'm willing to let you do and say certain things that I'm just brush off. Mm-hmm. It was never like a racial thing or nothing like that. It's just like certain comments as you shouldn't say to your player. Right. Because of self-esteem issues and stuff like that. I don't have self-esteem issues, but
it's still the principle of it. Like, it's a vulnerability.
Exactly. So that was one thing. And then when I made a comment back, and was just like, bro, I don't like that. Like, stop talking like that to me, or told him, we be in the huddle. I'm like, yo, like, before we break down, remember, we're all adults, so it's not about what you say, it's how you say it. Let's be respectful towards everyone. Right. Break it. That player got mad because he already knew that I was coming at him. I was like, bro, stop yelling at everyone. Stop talking crazy to everyone. We're all adults, When I left LA, they were just like, oh, he's difficult. He's not a good player. He doesn't work hard. He lies. He does. And I did nothing to y'all. So when I got capped, when it came for me time to sign with a different team, they would not let go of my rights. And they put a very big LA. They would not let go of my rights. They put a very big price tag on me.
How would LA have been able to hold your rights
so this is the crazy part, and this is where it gets ugly, and this is why I said MLR, you guys have to do better and protect the players.
Right.
Once I left MLR, or once I left the Guillotines, they still have my rights. They were not willing to release my rights unless it was for a decent number. From what I was told, it was a crazy number, like 30, 40K or something like that. But y'all not even paying me that.
Hey, that's what I was about to be like, yo, what?
Like, I'm getting all
they know your value. They just won't even give you your value's worth, but they'll take it.
Bro, so I'm getting all these numbers, and this is what I'm being told. Not once did I reach out to them, but this is what I'm being told by different people and people who are working within the area, like working within like the area of system. They're telling me, oh, he's putting a crazy number on you. Like, we're not paying that. Even when I was about to sign with the Houston Sabre guys, they're like, oh, we're not. He's tripping. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And mind you, me and the GM, we had a conversation. He's like, I'll make sure you get signed. I'll make it easy. I'm not going to do, and I called him like, yo, what is this number that they're telling? Like, what is going on? I thought you said you was making it easy. He's like, I am. Like, I'm not telling anyone, anything crazy. You lied to me because you're telling people I'm nasty attitude. I'm this, I'm that. No, bro. I just don't do bullshit. I'm an adult just like you. Don't shoot. Don't try and, prickle up my feathers to make me look, give it to me straight. But what the hell is going on? And that's when I found out, with my agent, he's like, they're tarnishing your name. And I told him, I was like, I told you this was going to happen. I told you this was going to happen. I did nothing wrong. I just wanted to play rugby. You couldn't pay me. You didn't want to pay me. You didn't want to play me. That's on you guys. Yeah, did I struggle with the playbook? Hell yeah, because y'all got me running 5 different positions out there. Like, yeah, I'm going to struggle. You got me playing winger.
It's part of the learning process. You've only been there for a year.
Playing full, yeah, like not even, like not even, like MLR just a year. LA, y'all, and mind you, you guys are running with stars.
Right.
So I got to see where I fit in. And right now I'm competing for a spot with Ryan James.
Sheesh.
So shout out to Ryan James. That's my boy. But he was constantly hurt as well. And he would come back in and then play over me. Bro, it got to a point to where Kahanu Koi, he's a dog. Shout out to my boy Hanu, was playing over me. He was like 17 or 18.
Mm-hmm.
He got to start before I did. Like, if that didn't crush me, I don't know what else did. I wasn't hating or nothing like that. I'm like, bro, you did your thing. You got a coach, you had good tackles. Like, you did your thing. I'm happy for you, bro. And Hanu knew I wasn't hating nothing. Genuinely had tears coming out of my eyes when I saw him play because I was just like, bro, you've been working. Now, I met you immediately when you came out of high school. You've been working, so that's what I went through. Then throughout the year, it just kept going. And that's when people started painting that narrative on me. And I have done nothing to nobody. I've never been disrespectful to, anyone. Do I lose my cool at times? Absolutely. Do I freak out at times? Absolutely. Do I let the referees have it? Absolutely. Because sometimes y'all be on some BS. And they know they do. But as far as like coaching staff and stuff like that, never done anything to nobody. Never rubbed anyone the wrong way. I just tell people how it is. I'm a blunt person, and I don't ever mean any harm by it. But if you can't handle me being blunt and just being me every day and not beating around the bush, then maybe you don't need to be a coach. Or maybe you don't, if you ask me for my opinion or how I feel about something, then and you can't handle it, maybe you shouldn't ask me those questions. Maybe it's best if you and I don't talk and, I just stay your employee and just work for you and do what I'm supposed to do. We don't have to have that communication. We don't have to, but is it probably for the best? Yeah, absolutely. But that's kind of where everything started going sour for me, and
is that part of what you were talking about, those dark days while you're even in camp with the USA Sevens?
Because I know, at camp, I know when I'm done with this training session, I gotta go back and do more research and deal with this.
Yeah,
I gotta come back to the fact that I got only $200 in my bank account. And I gotta be out here another month. Like, just little stuff like that was going on, and it should not have happened. But God puts his strongest soldiers through the toughest battles, and I fought. But now I'm also still, I'm getting ready to take off to Australia, not because I can't get signed here, but because, I've had enough. I fought my battle here. Didn't necessarily say I lost the war, but I wasn't really winning. You
got scars. You got scars.
So I tell people all the time, like, before you go into MLR, make sure it's something that you want to do. Because if you do something like, if you go through what I went through, it'll chew you up and spit you out. I remember I had some negative thoughts about some stuff because I was just like, all I want to do is play, But because of what I had gone through, and shout out to Mike Friday, because Mike Friday was in my corner the whole time. What I went through with LA, unreal. And me wanting to go back to DC at one point in time, because I'm home, they won't even sign. They wouldn't even reach out to sign me. And I had decent conversations or whatever. And I would always go back to DC because it's home, And I was a little immature at the time, but I'm more grown up. And I was still killing the scene by chance. But you guys are always saying that you want to make, you want to sign local players, but yet you're not signing. And I don't have anything against it, but make it make sense. You're signing all Argentinians. You're signing all foreigners, and I'm not saying don't give them a chance, but you got homegrown talent, and you still are, and you're giving, they have some people on their team that are from the area. They do. Yeah. But you can always have more because there's a lot of talent in the DMV, and don't act like there's not. And just because they're not from New Zealand, just because they're not from all these places, don't mean that they're not good. You got to give them a real chance. Shout out to my boy David Beach, who got signed with Miami. He's getting a real shot now. It's just stuff like that where they say they're trying to grow American rugby, and I have no problem because one of my, shout out to Mungo Mason. Like, he was my roommate when I moved in, to DC and the MLR. Shout out to Renata, to Nana Roberts. Like, his dad does the commentating on the HSBC. Like, I'm grateful for all these players, all the foreigners that I've met that came in. I've learned something. You know what I mean? I've learned about their culture, whether it's, what you guys do on a certain day, certain times of the day, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. Certain things about the game, or certain skills. Like, even the person I did not really, get along with, I learned a lot from him. Danny Tusitala, learned a lot from him, so like, I've learned everywhere I went, but I can't say that I've been treated properly or fair everywhere I went, and that's just the league today, and we have to deal with it. I don't want to say it's because of the color of my skin, because I know it may be, but I don't look at it that way.
I don't think it's like the primary. It literally is a clash of respect.
Literally, but people say it's the color of the skin. No, it's the culture shocks crashing at each other and having that, and that's why I want people to say, like, understand it's not. A lot of people think rugby is racist. It's not racist. You have to understand. You have two cultures trying to get along and clash together and mesh together. So before that happens, they're going to rough edges. Like even me and Danny, we got into it, and now Danny's like my brother. I call Danny. Danny needs shoes. He hits me up whenever yo, bro. You know, anyone that has a bike, he hits me because he knows I will always be one phone call away, because that's our cultures clashing is what brought us closer together. And I wish a lot of people looked at it that way, but a lot of people just take it in the worst negative perspective. You're never gonna have if you and your best friend can't argue, box a little bit, push and shove, y'all not really best friends.
Right. No, I get that. I feel that's real. And honestly, it's again part of that process of trying to figure out how to create this industry in essence, because all those components, how do you set the culture? How do you get to guide the people? Finding the right people to be able to guide it, being able to understand the empathy of each individual that's going to be a part of it, because you are getting everybody from a different culture, and it's different than it is with any other sport. Because at least within like an American sport, like with a football or something like that, while you might be from different areas, different regions, and even if you're separating, wealthier players from guys who came from lower income backgrounds, there's still a base culture that everybody's coming back around from. But in this, when you
100%
coming in from like South Africa, or a dude that's a coach that's from New Zealand, while you're also dealing with this dude that's coming in from England and bringing in, like, you are literally having to have the ability to navigate a worldwide network all in one element. And if you're putting one guy out because of the fact that that culture doesn't directly intertwine with what you're normally used to, it can be a pushback. Yeah. I do want to ask you one thing though. You spoke about, obviously, again, we talked about it before, but you talked about the passion again that you can have and talking out to the refs. You use Kayvon as an example of a person who has control. Have you been able to now start to kind of bring that into your character and your process?
Yeah, 100%. So like sometimes, like even like with the referees, like instead of me, like when I'm playing with, I'm like, oh, he's off his feet, like yelling little remarks like that, hoping that they're looking at certain stuff. And that's the thing, I won't just yell at shit just to yell it out. Like that's just not.
I assume there's always a reason. Yeah. But I think the question always comes back to like the presentation of that.
Yes. Yes. So I tell referees all the time, did you watch film? Do you watch film? And the reason why is because like you'll see why or what it is that we're seeing by chance. And if we're wrong, tell us by all means you're wrong. Explain to us why we're wrong. You know what I mean? Tell us why we're wrong. But don't just dismiss us as players, because we're still trying to learn as well. And a lot of referees be like, oh, he thinks he knows everything. No, but I read the rule book twice a year, every year, just to make sure I stay updated on the rules. And sometimes y'all are wrong. We've caught y'all in the wrong. We've had other referees tell you you're wrong. You're not going to be perfect, but there's nothing wrong with stopping the time for a second, not wasting the clock, but turning it off for a second. Yo, I need to get this right. And a lot of referees don't do that today. Like, shout out to Joyce Wassel, because he's one of the only referees I've seen do that on the big time stage. But as far as the control, like, yeah, I get irritated with the referees every now and then, but like, it's not like I'm really trying to say any harm in it. Sometimes it sounds worse than what it is because I'm dirt tired. I'm dirt tired trying to have a conversation with them or trying to yell out a call. And they're just like, bro, shut it. And I was like, I'm not trying to be rude, but you're right. I'm gassed right now. Probably shouldn't be having this conversation right now. Like Free tells me and Justin Hill, he thought I was trying to get on. I was like, nah, bro, I just can't see this. The field is green. The grass is green. Who the hell painted these fucking lines yellow or orange? Like, why would you do such a thing? But then they had to tell me like it wasn't them. It's just like the field or whatever, the company on the field that we're using. They're like, soccer has priority. You can always change the lines back. But bro, right now we're running out of bounds. We don't even know that we're running out of bounds. The try zone It's back there, but I can't even see the lines for the flag. So, you know, like I'm running by him. It's like, bro, I can't see that. Like, I can't see that. He goes, you've been playing all day. I was like, bro, I'm not coming at you. I'm just letting you know, like, I need you to help me here. If I score the try, put it down. Like, you know, because I genuinely, I can't see. It's dark outside now. All we got are the light. I can't see the lines, you know, just little stuff like that. You know, he might have thought I was coming. I was like, I'm not. This is shit. I can't see anything, you know, especially for the people who have poor eyesight. Like, you can't see it. We ran out of bounds twice trying to play out of bounds because we thought we were still in bounds.
Yeah.
It was a problem. Like, you know, but little stuff like that. But like, I think the referees we have a great nowadays. I mean, as long as they're trying to learn, like Cisco, me and Cisco are boys. I don't care what nobody say. Me and Cisco, I go at Cisco hard sometimes, and he just sits there and he's just like, you know what? He has a reason to, or he's like, Tate, you're in the wrong. You know what I mean? We have those, you know, after the game, we have those, and he teaches me, and I teach him. And if refs aren't willing to do that, then bro, you probably should be reffing. Like, you always got to learn. Don't ever feel like you're too good to learn or too good to explain yourself, because that's when you, as a referee and the player, you guys are at a disconnect now.
Right. No, I think that makes a lot of sense. And look, you know, no takeaway on them. Like refs have a lot to do. You know, we know that it's a multiple. So everybody on the field is kind of working the same element of like, yo, you are exhausted. You're trying to call. You're trying to know where you.
They have the hardest job by far.
So
and that's why I respect them.
Right. So it is, and like you said, it's not always perfect. But again, it's trying to find those ways to be able to work and present the game to both yourselves and to the audience in the best possible way. So, like, I guess I do have one question, and then I'm gonna let us leave off on that, because I think you've dropped a lot of diamonds here, and I truly appreciate you for this. What you're seeing with the possibility with the anthem North Carolina Rugby, former Hawks, which you know about the USA Hawks. You did Super Rugby Americas with them last year. You know, seeing what Scott Lawrence is trying to do with the anthem, and I have my opinion on it, because you know, I've always said my opinion on it is I don't know if it's the greatest usage of money. I feel like there is more messaging that needs to be done from a grassroots and entertainment that can provide a better funnel for players, and then you can help distribution grow higher than to use that same money for a set of players that might be the national team players, but you also have other players, but it gives an opportunity for American players who get displaced from other teams because they got overlooked for foreign players. And, you know, there's a lot of different directions that are going with it that I see both sides, even as though I just feel like there's better usage. For you, after your experience with Super Rugby America with the USA Hawks for, what was it, 1 game, 2 games that they?
Nah, I played that whole tour. I just didn't.
They played the whole tour. Okay.
So I played all the games when we went to South America. When we went to Chile and Argentina. I played in all of those.
Okay.
I just didn't play when we touched back down on land because I had to leave for work and family issues.
Gotcha. So from what you experienced with that to then what you're seeing with the anthem, what do you think that this is something that is a direction that they should go from the perspective from where you understand all this, because you have a direct, you're probably in the guys that are most like the type of person that is most likely to benefit. Do you feel like it's worthy, or do you feel like this is just another push to try and put a Band-Aid on a giant wound?
How are we coming out with another team and we can't even play the players? We can't even pay the players. But if you want my honest opinion, I think it's good for the players who aren't getting the play time that they need or where they deserve to be, or if they're not getting the proper recruit from, or the proper look from the USA for 15s. Like, I think this is a perfect start for them. I mean, you got BK, I believe, Brendan Keane, who is on the staff and who's been with USA on and off for years. Fucking phenomenal dude. Like if I could have BK adopt me as a kid, I would have, because that man is he's just funny. Good dude to be around, understanding. You can talk to him about anything. Like that man, I went to him about everything. When it came to work, a little scary. He's like, bro, you don't gotta be nervous. It's life. It happens. You know what I mean? When I wasn't up to things, he made sure he corrected it. Like he was like, yo, like come talk to me. They have Darren Coleman as well, who was once at DC, I believe, and he's now with the Anthem team. Great dude, gets everything done. Everything. When I was losing my uncle to cancer, and my uncle stopped breathing for a little bit, and I was going through it. Dan wouldn't leave me. He's like, I just want to make sure you're good. Like, so they care about their players for one, and two, they care about doing the right thing.
Right.
I can't speak on the rest of the staff. If the backs coach is still there, he knows what I'm talking about. He was a dog in his days. You can't teach what he was teaching because of the fact that he's letting you play, but letting you know you need to be in this spot at this time. Get there. I don't care how you get there. Get there. Great staff all around. Shout out to Alex Rossi, our strength and conditioning coach. I went in out of shape, came back shredded. I think they have the staff. They have a championship staff, but how are you going to pay your players? How are you going to, and what exactly is this for? Because you have you have players for USA. They're on almost every MLR team.
Exactly. That was the part that's confusing.
But this is your way of is this your way of trying to do what the Raptors are doing? I'm confused of, are you trying to do what the Raptors are doing? If this was a look for USA talent, then you would be bringing people who are actually under their nose onto that team, and not just players who were left in the draft unsigned. Because for a fact that if they went unsigned or into the draft, then how are they even under USA's eye?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's not me trying to throw shade or anything like that. But if you went undrafted, unsigned, are you really under their eye, or did you not meet the budget? Like, what is the reason? Because I guarantee you, if you were as good as, as people say you are or whatever, then no team's going to have a problem signing you. They're going to maybe try to lowball you in your number a little bit, but still a chance you get signed, Right. So if this team is to reserve all the players that didn't get signed, then you're going to be you might make Dallas Jackals look phenomenal.
Interesting.
Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah. I just realized.
But in the most respectful way, like, because of the fact that that's what it's going to look like if it's just a leftover, But again, BK and them, they do work some magic. So I could eat my words, trades, all that happens.
But I get, it goes back again. Are you getting the best players? Or are you getting the best available players?
If you want available players, and you got that all over,
right?
You offer anyone $20K, $13K, $15K compared to what their regular job, and if they can do both or they have the support, they're going to take that, and that's because they just want to play rugby and they get the chance to call themselves a professional,
right?
But are you going to win? Do we have the real backup to win? And that's my thing. Like, for me, when I go to Australia, I'm very excited to go to Australia just to continue to develop my game, to come back here and, show people what I've learned and how much I've developed. But I'm also doing it for me because I've had enough of stuff like this happening where, for a fact that, like, hey, like, this team could really use this player, or such and such. But yet you're going to just put another team in where everyone's already been signed and stuff for what? Like, is this a scrimmage team? Is this like everyone knew, for example, last year, when they went to Dallas Jackals, they was about to walk away with a dub. Half the teams didn't even start their real players. They would start their bench players and put their starters in second half. They didn't need it. You don't want to be that team. I know the Anthem doesn't want to be that team coming in. So that's why I was just like, I hope they come with it. I mean, is it a smart idea? Well, it just depends. Is this, like I said, is this really a team for Scott Lawrence to keep his eye on, or because you can keep your eye on
just
anybody?
To be a holding spot for these players that are in camp but aren't actually
in the MLR, but funded by USA.
No, funded by World Rugby.
World Rugby, sorry, funded by World Rugby, but yet again we still struggle to pay our players as it is. So, that's why I'm just. But it's not about that. For your question was, do I think this team is going to be good? I don't know, because of the fact that it is just. I don't know if it's a leftover players that didn't get picked up. Is it I don't know who's on this squad. I don't know who didn't get picked up, but I genuinely would say if it's a remainder of players who just did not get picked up and stuff like that, then yeah, I will tell you they are about to get rolled over. Dallas Jackals will no longer be the worst team in the league.
Team. I think someone said like, "Yo, it looks like there's a possibility of easy wins by the Dallas Jackals and Miami Sharks in that game against." I mean, again, there's like I said, there's so many ways to look at it, and for me, I'll always be media first because I think that's the first line, entertainment first. If for me, I feel like the value wins are coming from them. If regardless of whoever's on the team, as long as there's a documentary crew that is following that team for the entire season and that is getting us to know whoever the players are, bad or good, at least have an outcome that we're going to have to find a way to connect. And if you're going to have a crappy team that we're connecting with, at least it's a team that we connect.
See,
let's watch us grow.
See, and that's the thing. Like the squad that we have for the Hawks, they weren't necessarily bad. Like what it was I will say that like a lot of our forwards are young.
Yeah.
Like young. It's still in college and shit. So like, and some of our backs were young, like fresh out of college. Like, so it does just the I think maturity was a problem, and the attention span of running the right stuff, being in the right spots. Even me sometimes, like I didn't do everything wrong, but I definitely didn't do everything right. But I knew, how to carry myself because I've been here before. But it was just one of those things where a lot of people who had never been there before, they were still trying to figure out how to get here, how to get there. And I had to make it quite clear to them, like, if we don't focus up, we're going to get our coach fired. Like, and I, they moved their families out here. I was like, so we got to be more, get out of our own way and be more conscious about, how we're making the coaches look as well. People started to understand that. And as they started to understand that, things started to get, moving a little bit. But I mean, I don't think we won a game, or we maybe won one. I don't even remember. I don't think we won a game when we were in South America.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. If it's anything like that, then
yes.
Hey, bro, may the Lord be with you.
Yo, Dmontae, I believe it off on that, bro. Where can people find you, brother, so they can follow your story?
Oh man, Instagram A_Tay_15. Shoot me a message. Always love to chat. Anybody, love it.
Man, Dmontae, I truly appreciate it. I want to give you once again your flowers, bro. You got a hell of a story. Regardless of whatever has happened, you've still been a function of American rugby history and made an impact in rugby history in general. Dude, you have still been a phenom whenever you're on the field, and I still think you're going to be a phenom on the field as long as you choose to want to do it. And regardless of wherever you go and whatever it is that you do, I know you're going to be successful simply because of the fact that you have so much drive based off the fact of just the knowledge that it is this or nothing else. And I love that because it is plan A, and plan A becomes plan A. Even if it has to be plan B, it was plan A to begin with. So
exactly. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. I hope, this year, like I said, this past year I took off in MLR, and I'm getting ready to head to Australia to play in Perth. But when I come back, I plan to bring some noise, unless I end up with Western Force. But I plan to bring some noise, so I'm excited.
Man, bring that rugby league life, man. Bring that rugby league life. Hey, man, we breaking boundaries, all right? The hate between union and league has to come down. Set it off.
Yeah.
Sure. Man, thank you again for being on this, man. Thank you for coming for the convo.
Thank you for having me, bro. It means a lot. It's been a minute since we connected, so hey, that was needed.
Dmontae, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to be able to talk with me, to be able to be so honest and to be very upfront and just to be able to get a chance to tell your story and present it to the world. I hope you continue to have success as always. And to the rest of y'all, thank you so much for listening to it. Thank you for taking in the time, and I hope you learned something from it as well. In that time, I hope you guys get a chance to check out some of our past episodes. Of course, last episode we had the Dr. Rosalind Chow with formerly of Life University, now with Brown University. And of course, we had the Eddie Evans of Bangkok Tan, former Canada rugby player and former pro Japan Rugby League 1 player. And we've had so many great episodes even before that. Adi Cooney and Ty Lewis with Pacific Coast Rugby League. Of course, Mike Anderson with the James G. Robertson, Clive Sullivan Rugby Foundation, Freddie Henry Ajudwa of Nigeria Rugby, Craig Dawson, President of Prairie View A&M Rugby, Takunda Rusiki, President of Howard University Women's Rugby, killing it ones, and Nia Tapper. We got Kyle and Tiana Granby of Roots Rugby. We got so many people. Blaine Scully. We have so many people who have Ada Milby of Philippines Rugby and the World Rugby Council making decisions. So many amazing people to be able to talk to, that we've talked to, stories we've been able to listen to and tell. And I think these all add not just to being able to create an idea of what the rugby experience is, but to also understand why we need to get to where we need to get to in our growth and what needs to be done to make sure that we are facilitating that. So I hope you guys have an amazing one. If you guys get a chance, check out our episode on Wednesday as we talk about what has been going on. But in the meantime, I hope that you guys are happy. I hope that you guys are healthy. But most importantly, I hope that you know that you truly are highly favored. Until next time, y'all. Cheers.